Chuck, Chuck. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Check, check. Hello, hello. See if everything's working here. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Please let me know in the chat if all the levels are okay. Thank you for the few of you that are tuning in. Last minute stream. I appreciate it. I've wanted to do some sort of stream just to kind of follow up on hey, Jonathan. Hey, Philip Blair. I am on. Can you hear me? Shalom, shalom. Awesome. Great. Thanks for coming, guys. Yeah, I wanted to, we've been talking about doing some sort of continuing some sort of chill or hangout. It seems like everyone's kind of out of sorts with all the quarantine stuff, and we're all kind of trying to figure out when a good time is, with everyone in different area codes, so to speak. But I thought today would be fun to kind of discuss some audiomancy techniques that I use, specifically digital ones in this version, and this part one here, as an addendum of sorts to the conversation I had with Douglas of What Magic Is This last night, specifically about sigils and about the history of sigils and, some of my use, but I didn't really go too deep on his podcast, which should be out in a couple of days. Didn't go too deep about what I do specifically within audiomancy. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of share some easy ways for everyone to experiment with turning sigils into sound. And you can do this through various programs. I have a lot of them queued up here. Let me see. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of show you some neat ways to just make some atrocious melodies, some digital detritus using your specific sigils. Now I can show you kind of what I'm working with here. Let's do this. I'll bring up kind of the folder of the sigils I'll be using today. And let's see, excuse the little flubs here. We're going to share computer sound. So this is the folder. I have some sigils in here. You'll see I just put kind of loosely titled what they're about because, the thing with sigils, you're supposed to kind of forget the mechanics, the dynamics of what went into the intention. So these are some that I created that are kind of, I know and have most of them tattooed on my body, actually, just a loose concept of what they are. Let's see, we have, we're going to be using, I think this one is fun. We'll use this one for a couple of programs. This is my sigil for love, which I have actually tattooed on my forearm. I'll show you here. It's the light, but yeah, that's it right there under the creativity one. These are all stick and pokes that I get from different friends in different cities I've lived in. It's kind of a tradition and a ceremony for me to kind of retire the sigil as a stick and poke done by, different friends in different cities I've lived in. And they usually have never stick and poked before. So it's always just a really fun ritual. Excuse me. My dog caught something outside the window. Yeah, so what I do a lot of times, in songwriting is I'll experiment kind of magically with sigilism and how to create certain sounds and scapes and attitudes and moods using some sort of magical practice. And like I said, today would be fun to show you guys how you can do it too, using a couple of free online programs or even kind of digging into MIDI a little bit. How did I come up with that sigil for love? Let's see. It was one that I did, old school kind of intention writing, an intent, the Austin Osman Spare Way that was made popular by Grant Morrison of taking out the vowels and, taking the repeating letters out, combining it into an image that I liked. But this one was specific for me because it was right when I was changing into less doing that and more kind of meditating and automatic writing. So I would sit in a soundscape, usually analog with tape loops and stuff, and sit there with a pad of paper on the ground and meditate to it and write and write and write and write. And it would get to a point where I would start kind of writing in symbols, you know, as you do, because you're not really writing in any narrative structure. And I would kind of focus on one and just do it over and over and over again while meditating on kind of the intention of love. So that's how I came up with this one. And these are fun because, and anyone can do this too. So I made a font online. I use it for all the We the Hallowed stuff. You'll notice it's the font that I use on the episode cover arts for all the PRAGMAGICK episodes. I can show you here what that looks like. And you guys can hear me okay and everything? That's great. So this is the font I made. Anyone can do this. It is from myscriptfont.com. And basically, they give you a table of all the codes to kind of create your own font. And so I designed, you know, my alphabet, but I also included sigils in there. You'll see just kind of hidden throughout as little quick keys. And that was for me as another way to kind of spike, you know, sigils within writing and kind of hide things. And I was experimenting with the idea of doing quick key sigils because, you know, the entire point is to kind of punch it into your subconscious. And I thought that was kind of a cool technomantic way of doing it, is, you know, doing an alt, you know, alt question mark or whatever. And it would be the symbol for love, or it would be the symbol for therefore, which is one of the classic symbols I use that you'll see a lot in like the OTO and stuff, which I always loved, just the 3 triangle dots. But yeah, I have a bunch of them down here. Let's see if I can. So a bunch of them down here is just little supplements, crazy little sigils all punched around. And so what I did with this is, so now they're kind of imprinted on the computer and they are there kind of forever, especially as a font in any program I use. And so that also gives me a quick way to make, you know, quick copies or ideas to use for the fonts that I'm using, like this guy. So yeah, so without further ado, I thought, you know, we'd use some of these that I've taken, and we're going to use some free programs to create some noise. So first, I'd like to talk about something called Sonic Photo, and it's free to download. Show you here. So this is Sonic Photo, free to download. I'm not sure if it works for Mac, as I'm using a PC. So hopefully there is an analog to this for Macintosh. Does anyone call it Macintosh anymore? I missed that. Or for Apple. So Sonic Photo is an audio program to convert from pictures to sound. Use your existing photo collection or draw your own in Photoshop or any paint editor. And with the click of a button, watch Sonic Photo create the sound before your eyes. Now, I'm not one to just click a button and settle for the sound. So I'll show you. I've got it open here. So this is the Sonic Photo, right? Yeah. And as you can see, I put in my money sigil right here, but we can do anything by loading picture. Hopefully you guys can still see that. And let's do love. Boom. And so it's in there. Now, I have it looped, but I'll just show you. I already messed with some parameters. You can mess with the harmonic brightness. This is all just kind of, you know, pretty in-depth theoretical kind of sonic stuff, but you can have fun just goofing around with the parameters. And this turns this sigil into sound. So let me know if you guys heard that. Did lightning strike my tattoo when each tattoo was finished? No, but blood came out. That's a big deterioration process, I think, with the sigil. Bloodletting in a way, I guess. But yeah, good. Can you guys hear that sound okay? I'll loop it here. So please let me know. This is fun and fascinating. Awesome. Can you share those maybe in the description? Yes, John aside, I will put all these programs in the description when I'm finished so everyone can have fun and go with it. It is a lot of fun. So, but like I said, I'm one to kind of mess with, different modulations. But as you can see, I also like using kind of numerical things. So I want the number 23 in there, right? Maybe use my birthday. So 22, 3. And then, bass pitch. Let's just do something like, what's another good number? Let's just do 70. Oh, and now play it. So it's fun. And the thing is, you can save the sound as a wave, and you can bring this into your recording program and screw it up. And I'll talk more about this later, because one of the fun processes of doing this is in Sigilism, like a big process of it is kind of the deterioration aspect or the forgetting aspect. There's a great quote from Lubetsch, who wrote Temple of Man, and I talk about this on the What Magic Is This podcast. But he says, the symbol is the expression of will, but he also says one must know how to disregard the vehicle of the idea in order to consider its motivation alone. And I think, a lot of that is forgetting. A lot of that is the deterioration. In my idea, it's losing the ink over time, tattooed, or scarring over it. I also draw sigils on my hand every morning, and I watch as the ink kind of deteriorates through the day. And so a cool thing with doing this audibly is you can put this into a music making program, a DAW, digital audio workstation, and then you can put something at the end of the song where you have the sigil wave playing to deteriorate it. So you put like a bit crusher, some sort of modulation, even a fade out, just so that anytime that sigil is on in behind the song, I'll use it a lot just for kind of scapes, but I'll show you how to use it for drums too. It's fun. But you have, anytime you're listening to that song, it's being charged in the back of your mind, right? You're listening to it, you're listening to your sigil audibly just be, elated and charged throughout. And at the end of the song, it deteriorates. So it's combustible every time. And I think that's a really cool aspect of it. But yeah, so lowest frequency, let's make it a little higher. And it's really just about goofing around. Feather means to kind of morph it a little bit to the frequencies. Let's turn the brightness up. Tone, let's do it a little up. And then, yeah, let's mess with the numbers. Like I said, every mechanical part of this, I think, is so important. So not only are you putting sigils in your music and kind of making it tone in a way to kind of drive or understand where the music's going, but you can even put in factors like the harmonic brightness, quantization strength, bass pitch, numbers, and gematria that like really resonate with you, which I think is just super, super fascinating, that every little aspect of this song is going to have a piece of you and your intention in it. So yeah, let's mess around it again. It's in the key of mystery. Yeah. The key, so it's in mid C right now. But I'm pretty sure you can change all the pitches and stuff. We can do 5 harmonics, chord notes. We can do semitones, which are always fun. Let's play this, see what this sounds like. Ooh. It gets a little crazy. So another thing that I'd want to do is if I put it into another program, I'd want to keep the sound time probably slower. Let's see if this works. It's too fast. See, I've still got a lot to learn with this program. It's super fun. The harmonics is down here, each tone. Let's do C4 to C7. Let's do third tones. Let's keep the brightness down, the highest frequency down, because I'm not a big fan of those high notes. Ooh, that's nothing but high notes. I can go down an octave or few. So yeah, it's just about screwing with it. Obviously, I like minors, if I may. Minor 7th chord. So I probably hit something here. So lowest frequency. Brightness. Let's get the tone down. See? It's super fun. And I have it on loop, you know. And look at this is what I'll do. I can even show you guys how to do this. So, oops. No, I don't want to rotate. So you can rotate the image too, which is cool. And it'll play it sideways. Maybe flip the X. So it seems to not really change it too much. I wonder if inverted colors will just mean more tones. Cool. So less tones. So it's reading, you know, the black. It's just too much black. Let's not invert colors. Let's play this again. I like that. That's kind of sweet. And we're just going to save the sound as love. We don't want to save it as a WAV file. Boom. Okay. So yeah, so that was you know, Sonic Photo. Super fun. I'll put that in the description. I recommend messing with it. Obviously I like my sigils to be a bit more on the black and white scale. You can, if you wanted to get crazy, because, you know, like, let's see, my PRAGMAGICK logo is a sigil, but it's not. I like mine simpler. So let's see if we can do something like that and see what comes out of it. So there's my planchette with Austin Osman Spare, little ode to him as we're doing sigils, which is pretty cool. Let's see what that sounds like. Cool. I want to, let's just do single note. Neat. So yeah, so it's reading all of that. Hey Nish, how you doing? Yeah, so this is, I love this. I'm gonna put this in the description. I recommend everyone screw with it, and I'll show you how to, like, you know, bring it in and some other stuff in regards to what you can do with these noises. The other thing I want to show you, and this is a fun one. This is just an in-browser thing. Here, we'll do this. So this is an in-browser. It's called pixelsynth, and I'll put that in the description too. It's just a website, and it's all online. So here we are with this. Where are you, pixelsynth? Boom. Okay. So here we go. This is pixelsynth, and this is really fun too. A lot less operations, a lot less mechanics in the background of it. You'll see it's just kind of more fun. And I think you can't really export sounds, so you'd have to kind of record the sounds that you make just off the computer using, you know, any kind of program. So let's see. Sorry. So that's what it sounds like when you just load it. Way too loud and way too high. So they gave us a background of this night sky. Let's see if I can turn just a volume. Sound. I guess not. Well, the other cool thing too is you can draw on here, but I'll show you something else. Okay, so let's just upload one of my sigils. Let's do creativity. Okay, so now too loud. Let me see if I can. It doesn't have like a sound, a volume thing. Let's see. Brightness. Sorry if that's too loud, guys. Let's start octave 0. Yeah, it's a bit loud. I don't want to blast your guys' ears off. It doesn't have a volume knob on here, but it is fun. So Let me see if I can figure out if I can turn it down for you guys and we can mess with it. Yes, I know. I'm sorry. Yes, it's way too loud. Well, you know what? I'll just show you this program. This is what pixelsynth is. It's far too loud to show. I'll put the link in the description. You guys can go in there, load your own sigils. The other cool thing too, let's clear the background. You can also draw your sigils. So let's do my love sigil. Okay, that's my love sigil. I'd love to play it for you, but I'm really, really worried about how loud it's going to be. And I'm not sure how to turn this down on here. So thanks, Olivia, who created this. No, you're a genius. This is awesome. Like I said, I'll put it in the description. I did not mean for it to be so loud. You guys should have fun with it. It's cool. You can draw your own. The issue, though, with me in this, and it's not really an issue if you can do it, is just exporting the sound that you make. Minor pentatonic. So you can't really export it. So what you'd have to do is you just have to record it off the computer. You can reroute using any audio program, really. Yeah, so that's fun. So the other thing I wanted to show, it's like a real classic way, and you could use any audio, digital audio workstation, which means like any audio editing program. I'm going to show you with Ableton Live right now, but any program that you can use MIDI with is what I'd recommend, because now we're going to screw with MIDI. So what I have open here is this, and let me see, I'll just make sure to read the comments, make sure you guys can hear all of this. So if you see this right here, I started drawing my sigil for creativity, so I have that in drew it in the MIDI thing. So basically you just take the pencil, right? You can even do so, basically just drawing your sigil. And that's what I did here. And the way I use this, so obviously if I put this in a synth, it'll sound nuts. What I love doing is using it for rhythm. And I think a lot of people tend to, when they do kind of sigil and abstract sound art, it's cacophonous. It's too crazy. It's too loud. It's a lot like that pixel synth program, right? And I like it more as like a subtle kind of chugging rhythm to kind of build a song on top of. And I think that to me is far more important, as I want to enjoy it. I want to listen to it, but I also want to emote something on top of it using lyrics and being more kind of intentional about every aspect. So here we have a my sigil for creativity in MIDI. I put down the tempo a lot, and it's totally off kilter and weird. I can mess with it later. I like literally just did this to show you guys a way to do it. And you see, it's got a good chug, little off-kiltered rhythm, which I always love. Makes it more human. Obviously, I tighten it up. You could even go as far as quantizing, but we don't want to go through that. Don't quantize too much. Don't make it sound like a robot. That's my motto. But I also have, another way that I punch this up and really make this mine is I have. Let's see. I have. Where is it? I have my sample folder, which I guess it's not on this computer because I just downloaded this on here. But anyways, I have my sample folder where I have pre-recorded me hitting kitchen sinks and tables and pots and pans, and you'll hear that all throughout my music. And I made my own little sample library, which I'm considering releasing, or even maybe, I don't know, selling if people wanted to use it. They're all like very kitchen sink, concise samples, hitting wood, hitting walls, slamming doors, walking upstairs, boots against wood, And that's, if you hear any Dakota Slim music, that's what you're listening, is just all of my actual samples. And the way I construct those samples is I put sigils in them. And by doing that is I put the samples into the MIDI, and yeah, construct these sigils and screw with it, and then, you know, bring my guitar into it, you know, bring vocals, more melodies, and just build on top of it and build on top of it. So it starts with this image. It starts with the sigil. Let's see. I'm going to check in with chat here. Let's see. Sorry about that pixel synth again, guys. Junk band realness. Yes. Yeah. Logic. You can use Logic. You can use Reaper. You can use Ableton. You can use, it's whatever MIDI program. It's easy. Yeah. Logic is probably the easiest one to use. So, and if you're a Mac user, so that's why that is fun. In the next one, in part 2, I will be, I'll show you more. I'll go into more detail about the analog ways. And some of these analog ways are etching sigils into cassette tapes and playing the cassette tape back. And so what I mean is like literally taking a pin and etching sigils through the loop, the cassette, the actual magnetic tape, and then playing that through my cassette tape recorder, and recording kind of whatever I had that was on the tape before and how that's affected with the sigils coming out of it. And there's, I mean, like I said, there's so much more use, I think, for me in analog tape, because there's something living, breathing with it. There's something more viable. That's why it's that's why it's always important to me to, you know, make my own samples. It's important to me to record my own samples to use with all of this, instead of just using kind of whatever the MIDI sounds are. And to each their own, but I think to me that's always been an important aspect of my creative process. Yeah, and like I said, this is kind of an addendum to the What Magic Is This podcast I'll be on in a couple of days, talking with Douglas about sigils, about the history of sigils, kind of my ideas of them. I think, you know, the reason why I thought to do this today too was we talked about the amateur effect, and this happens, I think, when people are using sigils all the time. The amateur effect, basically, you guys, or not you guys, but people do it once. They do a sigil once, it works really well. They do it again, not so well. They kind of give up. And sigils get a lot of flack, I think, in more of the elitist occult community, as being kind of fat magic, or kind of, you know, bear magic. And I wholly disagree. I think the whole point is your praxis should be evolutionary. And the reason why the magic may not work as much or work as well each time is because you're not expanding on why you're creating, on why you're doing this, you know? And you've got to experiment. You got to have fun with it. You got to really charge using different ideas, be original. You know, just doing that age old kind of Austin Osman Spare style of sigil making probably won't yield you consistent results, because I think that it's the magic speaks with you in a way of, hey, keep dancing with me, keep, you know, let's keep tangoing, let's keep trying things, let's keep doing this. But yeah, so thank you guys for showing up for this. This was fun. I will post more of these, and you know, we'll dive deeper into more ways to do kind of digital art. Like I said, I'll put the links in the description. I can put some in the chat right now. So let's see. Here is pixelsynth in the chat. I recommend people playing with it. Sorry, it was too loud. And here is Sonic Photo, which I know, Nish, you're a Mac user, so I'm not sure if they have a Mac version of this, but this is what it is. And yeah, and here is, let's see, and how to make your own font. For those that you that came in late, I showed people that I made my own font to hide sigils in. And this is what it looks like. And this is called Hallowed. And this is what I use for all the We the Hallowed stuff. It's, you know, my custom font. I think it's, again, this is all part and parcel to just being intentional about every facet, about every idea when it comes to art, about all the small minutia. And if you do myscriptfont.com, you can create your own. You just print one of these out, you design and draw your font, you scan it, and it turns it into a TTF file. And like I said, as you can see, I've hid sigils in it because one of my ideas for experiments with like technomancy was short key sigils. So in any program where I, you know, because I have this font on pretty much my computer, so it just works with any program. I can, while I'm writing, you know, quick charge a piece of writing, or quick charge, you know, a thought by just an alt, whatever key the sigil's in. So that's a really fun experiment too. I once again, you know, I'll put that in the description. It's just myscriptfont.com. Oh, it doesn't exist anymore. This was old, but now it's calligrapher.com. So hopefully you don't have to pay for this. It looks like you do. Damn, that's a bummer. I hate this. I hate it when great open source things get bought and are now costing money. I'm sure you can go anywhere to create my own font. And there's got to be, let's see, elegant themes, some basic tools, paint font. There we go. Free service enables you to turn your handwriting into a font by filling out and scanning a template. That's exactly what. Calligrapher bought that too. That is diabolical. Diabolical. Calligrapher, you will never get my money. What about FontStruct? Whew. All right. So this looks like it's free. Build, share, download fonts. And I recommend this just for having images of your fonts. I mean, you could even do a shoal, as what, you know, Gordon White would call just a kind of collection of fonts. Like, why not make your shoal into a font, into a language that you can actually like translate and use? I think that's a brilliant idea. And I'm definitely going to do that next. Just a full font of, you know, probably previously casted sigils, maybe new ones. And yeah, you'd have that entire language in the language of your computer. So that's really fun. Stays free at the website File Hippo. Stays free at the website File. I don't know what File Hippo is. What am I linking? Sorry guys. Okay. Let's see. Suggestions doing a show, making sigils. I know someone else probably has one. Oh yeah. So I mean, if you want John aside, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure maybe I was being a bit too forward and not giving them a little background on how to make sigils. We can do this real quick. Let's just see. So we'll start. This is just the old school way. This is a way to like for everyone to get into it. I'm just gonna write an intent. Okay. We'll just say PRAGMAGICK will have more interviews soon. Because I've been a little bit behind on that. More interviews soon. That's a bit loose. I think you'd want to be a little bit more specific, but for the, you know, sake of just showing. Oh, and I should stop sharing. Okay. So yeah, PRAGMAGICK. Sorry about my handwriting. We'll have more interviews soon. And let's see. I should probably mirror this. Yeah, mirror my video. You guys can read that okay? Don't mirror my video. Boom. There you go. Okay. And oh, File Hippo posts out of date freeware. I love it, Philip Blair. You are a saint. Hallowed be thy name. All right. So what you do is after you have your little, and this is just the kind of basic 101 way. Once you have your statement of intent, you take out all the vowels. All the vowels, even Y, because I know, you know, sometimes it's not. And then you take out all the repeating letters. So we'd have P, R, G, M, C, K, W, H, V, We have R, N, T. We have W, S. And so that's what it looks like after I took out all the vowels and all the repeating letters, and I'm stuck with these letters. And basically what you do is you just crush all those into a symbol, and you just sit here and kind of, here's a P, there's a G, make that an R. And you don't necessarily need to have them all in there, but it's important to just focus on what this means to you. And you just keep writing it over and over until you get something you like. And for the purposes of this, and because I've done this quite a number of times, I'm going to be a little faster. And we'll just say that here, that is the sigil. If that makes sense to you, Jonaside. And so basically what I did then is all the sigils you saw earlier, I just kind of put them on that script font thing, which you now, if you made your own font, can get out of my way. If you made your own font, you can hide them in. And so you'll have just clear representations of your sigils. Here's one. Here's one for love. Here's one for creativity. And here's a bunch of others. I won't go into what they mean because honestly, I forgot. And that's kind of the point is, you know, what you want to do. And these are ways to charge it too. So charging it would be the classic way and the funny way. And we talk about this on Douglas's podcast is masturbation. You basically masturbate to the sigil. And at climax, it puts the sigil in the back of your mind. And you kind of have it as a hidden intention, as a dark mover for all of your somatic kind of resonances. So excuse that was a bit of a brash rundown of sigil making. I'd love to do a more in-depth one, especially in like other ways to do it because that's just a classic way. And so what this was all about is taking those sigils, utilizing them, charging them through art and charging them through music. And so, you know, we created sound using it. And for those that came in late, so this is the sonic photo. We'll just load the sigil. Let's do this guy. Won't tell you what it's about. And then using all the parameters. And like I said, you know, being very intentional about even numbers for the parameters, I think is important. I think every little facet, putting a little bit of magic or intention in, especially when it comes to music, which creating and recording a song is probably one of the most that painting, like anything creative, but also in this digital age, creating music by your lonesome and multi-tracking and figuring out playing different instruments and creating like soundscapes and going through every little facet, every sound, every note, every rhythm is highly magical. And I think that's why it's always been my preferred way to charge music or to charge magic and sigils with music. And so this is what that sounds like. That's the note of that sigil. Of course, it's a little too bright for me. It's too low. So yeah, you can just mess all these up. And yeah, what I'd do is I'd save that sound and bring it into a recording program like Ableton. While we're here, might as well. So what I do is, let's do file. Let's see. Oh wait, no, not quit. We're going to do add folder, new album, or did I save it in sigils? Sigils, boom. Okay, and so I did a love one earlier. and we can just boom. And here's my sigil I did in MIDI, remember, for creativity. This is using that sonic photo, is the sound I created with the love sigil. We'll just make sure that loops. So that's two sigils working together as one. And of course with this, I'd also turn this down a little bit and really screw it up, you know. Audio effects, let's do illusion. And then, yeah, I can pick a guitar. Yeah, and I just picked up a guitar and started playing with it. But that's usually how that goes. Hopefully you guys could hear the guitar on top of that. But yeah, that was that was a quick, picked up a guitar, threw a sigil sound in there, wrote a sigil for the drum beats, and started making music and started constructing a sound. Did you guys hear that okay? Might as well jump. Awesome. Okay, cool. So you guys did hear it. I like to put Norse code. Yes. Or Morse code. I said Norse code. That would be runes. Norse code would be runes. Yeah, but that was fun, you know. I love doing this. And it really, you can, you know, you're able to kind of, if I was to write songs on guitar, you know, kind of bring it, mess with the rhythm, mess with the, so now I know kind of what to record and what to do. So that would be a new record here, or a new song for a new record. And yeah, really, it's just messing with the parameters, being very intentful about all of it. I do like this as like a degradation of the sigil. So at the end of the song, and it's like burning the sigil, right? I know this could be really boring for everybody. So. Just messing around with it. So I think that concludes today's adventures in Audiomancy. Once again, I'll put all of the links in the description. Hell, I might even just kind of finish this song and post that too as just kind of a tutorial on how to do it. Yeah, I'm gonna check in with chat, see how everyone's doing. I've done a little sigil work with runes, was never happy with it. Yeah, you know, Jonathan, you bring up a good point, and I think that's a big thing for me, is I don't like using kind of pre-existing sigils. I do very rarely, you know. I tend to have a couple throughout my life that really charge me, like the Zia, the Native American symbol for the sun, you know, is the New Mexican state flag, and that's always kind of been, I was born there. It's always, you know, haunted and followed me. So I do kind of use that for a home kind of idea. Thank you, Robin. Yeah, it was great to see you again. Hope to talk to you soon. Um, but yeah, in that idea of using runes and stuff like that, I'm more of the anarchic side of things where I just like to create, and I like to create my own, do my own thing, create my own font, create my own samples, create my own, sounds using sigils and all of that. And it's been absolutely rewarding, if not completely over people's heads. They, very rarely care about the minutia, but that's not what it's about. It's about the process. And so it's just been a absolutely rewarding experience. I recommend everyone mess with Sonic Photo, with pixelsynth. Um, make your own font, make your own shoal of sigils into a font, and have fun with it. Be creative. Magic is a dance, and it doesn't tucker out easily. You got to keep it interested. You got to keep it interested in you, and you got to keep it interested. And it's a partner, right? It's you got to keep it interesting, I guess. This is the best way I can do it. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Next time we will do more analog experiments with cassette tape and some other fun kind of meditative attempts at sigil experimentation. Anyways, love you all. Thank you very much. Haunt on.